So as you know, we spend a lot of time ICMA TV going around the country looking at communities, and one of the things that is always front and centre is the quality of life. Now the ICMA has just brought out a report on improving quality of life, and I'm really delighted now to be joined by Paula Sanford and Franzel to discuss it. All right, well first of all, thank you and welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Nice to see you. So tell us through, talk us through the report.
Okay, well, one of the reasons that we recently released this report on public health and local government was to essentially answer three questions. You know, how can local managers and local governments more generally weave health considerations into all aspects of their policies and programs? How can these local managers and other local officials more effectively work with their local health department counterparts? And just quite frankly, what's already going on in the area where this coordination is happening?
And what did you find?
Well, we found that local governments are doing a lot to improve public health. Beyond the traditional services, clean water, sanitation, we see that there is a health crisis going on in the United States when it comes to physical inactivity and obesity, and that local governments are starting to change the infrastructure, that environment we built to overcome that. We created a car-centric world, and now how do we change our environment to do that? We do it through planning and comprehensive plans. We do that through complete streets and building those sidewalks and thinking about connectivity, and we think about public transit so that people can walk to and from work and home, just to build public health, and our parks of course as well for children to exercise.
Absolutely. And what made you look at it in the first place?
Well, you know, we see a lot of drivers that are sort of pushing us down the road of how can we coordinate more closely. I mean, some of these drivers are sort of bottom up in terms of increased devolution from states to local government in terms of responsibilities. Some are more emphasis on the underlying quality of life of an area or a region. From a top-down orientation, you know, you're seeing a lot more focus on weaving in health policies from federal government, international organizations, and others to sort of look at it more holistically as sort of how can these programs and policies be offered with a health component always attached to them.
And I think creating this culture of health really has, beyond the social, having people have better quality of life, real fiscal and economic impacts. And studies have shown, for example, that an obese person has medical bills that are over $1,400 a year more than someone of healthy weight. And when we think about attracting businesses, that's a consideration, as well as for local governments thinking about their own health insurance. There are the lost productivity of $680 million a year due to health reasons. And then the positive is healthy communities have higher property values. When you look at walkability scores and miles of sidewalks, that is translated into higher property values. And I think when all those combine, there becomes a real incentive to invest in health.
It's a really good point, isn't it? Because, you know, we go around the country and we've probably profiled 200 communities or so now, and that kind of quality of life is a real draw to that community, isn't it, in terms of bringing people in, businesses, and just the kind of well-being of that community.
I think you're exactly right, and we're seeing this. The millennials have shown that they want multiple forms of transit. They want that community, if you want, that creative class. And then the baby boomers want to be able to age in place, and how do you do that for them? And they need transit, they need density and those kinds of housing situations. You know, how do you move forward from that?
Well, both, thank you very much indeed. Really interesting subject, so thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.